Welcome to the ICD-10-CM and PCS training website. Hello, my name is Pietro Ingrande, and I do business as Codemasters. This is a continuation of my introduction to the ICD-10-CM and PCS training program. I have put together a training program to help coders transition from ICD-9 to ICD-10 while teaching them the tools and skills they will need to ensure a seamless transition come October 1st, 2013. AHIMA has recommended 50 hours of training, and this program does just that. Participants will learn the organizational structure and differences between ICD-9 and ICD-10 and practice coding with case examples. In addition, participants who complete the program will receive 50 CEUs stamped with AHIMA's seal of approval. This is an online program designed from the comfort of your home or office. I have created 2 introductory videos. One will cover ICD-10-CM and the other ICD-10-PCS. Both run approximately 20 to 30 minutes in length. Please watch both and get some insight into some of the nuances of ICD-10-CM and PCS and what to expect with my online teaching program. Let's continue with the ICD-10-PCS part of the program. In my course training, we will cover the history and structure and organization of ICD-10-PCS. We will learn the attributes and characteristics and definitions. We will do a section-by-section overview. We will review the PCS coding guidelines, and we will practice coding. Some of the tools that I will use include the ICD-10-PCS coding rules and guidelines, the ICD-10 coding table and index, the ICD-10-PCS coding reference, the coder training manual, and the coder training workbook. As I did with ICD-10-CM, we will look at and demonstrate these resources later on in this program. Let's take a quick look at the ICD-10-PCS guidelines. And as you can see, there are 3 specific sections of those guidelines, and they include conventions, the medical and surgical section, and the OB section. On the CMS website, you can get these guidelines, and you should be able to see those right now. It's available on the ICD-10 part of the CMS website. Just simply go to the CMS website and search on ICD-10, and you'll see a wealth of tools and resources that can help you transition from 9 to 10. Here you can see the conventions and the medical and surgical section. Notice how much bigger it is than the other section, in the OB section. Looking closer at the medical and surgical section, note the body system, root operation, body parts, approach, devices. These are all things that we're going to learn about in my class, and it's something that's crucial in order to understand the changes and nuances of ICD-10-PCS. Let's go ahead and continue. Looking at the coding guidelines, I want to share one guideline with you. I think it's a real good and important one, and it is this one here, Guideline A.11. Many of the terms that are used to construct PCS codes are defined within the system. It is the coder's responsibility to determine what the documentation in the medical record equates to in the PCS definitions. The physician is not expected to use the terms used in PCS code descriptions, nor is the coder required to query the physician when the correlation between the documentation and the definition is clear. So what does that mean? Well, it means that it's the coder's responsibility to review the documentation, interpret it, and make the call. It's not the physician's responsibility to change his terminology so that it is in PCS language. Now, a lot of folks believe that, or at least we're under the impression that during physician education and training that physicians would have to use the new terms and terminology that's included in PCS, and that is not the case. We will conduct physician education. However, it will be to orient them to a lot of the differences. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. When the physician documents a partial resection, The coder can independently correlate a partial resection to the root operation excision without querying the physician for clarification. The change from the term resection is a dramatic one that we have been used to. And I'll use the example of a resection of the kidney from ICD-9. Partial resection of the kidney, total resection of the kidney. They both code to the code family of kidney resections. However, now with the change in terminology, a resection means the total removal of a body part. And otherwise, if it's a partial removal, that now codes to excision. So total removal, total kidney resection would code under resection now. However, a partial would code under the root operation excision. We will cover these things in depth in my class, so no needs to worry. We will use a wealth of tools to ensure that you are fully trained and ready for the transition. Here's an example of the 7-character codes in ICD-10-PCS. And please note that all 7 characters will be used in PCS. It's different than ICD-10-CM, where even though there are 7 characters, you can use anywhere from 3 to 7 characters. In PCS, you must use them all. Therefore, understanding what all these characters mean, character 1 through 7, and exactly what they mean, the section, the body system, the root operation, body part, approaches, devices, and qualifiers. Each one of those have meaning. And it's important that we learn and understand what those meanings are so that we can properly assign those codes. They could be either alpha or numeric, any one of these. And the meanings will change with each different section. Letters O and I are not used in PCS. Instead, the numbers 0 and 1 are used instead. O and I are unique to ICD-10-CM. Each character does have a meaning, as we discussed, and that meaning can change by section. So, be prepared for that, and be prepared to learn what all those sections mean, because they will make a difference in the assignment of the codes. Why don't we take a quick look at the ICD-10 code book, and this is an electronic version that is available on the CMS website under ICD-10. And the sections here are all listed, as you can see, medical and surgical. So if we went to the medical surgical section and picked a body system, they're all listed right here. Body system, let's say heart and great vessels. And now we've got the root operations, and the root operation was a bypass. We would have the first 3 digits of our ICD-10-PCS code. Section was medical and surgical. The body system was heart and great vessel. The root operation was a bypass. Now we have to assign the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th characters to complete our ICD-10-PCS code. Now, as you look at that, you can see the body part, the approach, the device, and the qualifier. You're probably thinking what I was when I saw this for the first time. You know what I was thinking? Oh my gosh. Wow, what an eye-opener. I kept thinking, how in the world am I ever going to figure out how to properly apply these codes? Well, there's things that can help us. And for instance, right now we've got our first 3 codes, and now we need the rest of them. And how are we going to find those? Well, it's something that we can do and will do, as long as we have the tools to help us do that. And we do. I've got a wealth of tools that are available to us. And here are some examples of those tools when we look at things like the approach, open, percutaneous, endoscopic, a definition behind it, some examples. Examples would be an open CABG, endarterectomy. There's a lot of tools that we have available to us with ICD-10-PCS, and as long as we use those tools appropriately, we will be able to find the correct and proper codes. Looking at the root operations, Here is your excision again, and resection. These were the terms that I used in that example. And they're both cutting out or off without replacement, cutting out or off without replacement. The difference is that an excision is some of a body part, like a lumpectomy. And a resection, again, these are the same. A resection is all of a body part, like a total mastectomy. So there are tools available to us that we can use and will use to ensure that you understand these terms real well. And we will use those to our advantage. So let's go back to our program here and continue on. Looks like I got a little behind here. Sorry, folks. We will just continue on. And here's where we were. Okay. Looking at the body system here, it's the second character. And it's a body system, can either be a system or an anatomical region. You can review those different body systems in the training manual. And learning how to use the index, the main term is always a root operation. Just like you do in the index right now when you're looking up a term in ICD-9, you can use that same term to look up something in the index. Here's an example of a root operation resection, a root type fluoroscopy, and a common procedural name like a prostatectomy. When you do that, you will be brought to the tables just like we reviewed. And be aware that when reviewing those tables, there are multiple tables for the first three characters. And it could also cover multiple pages in the code book. So you have to be a little careful when you look those up to make sure that you are picking up the appropriate one. Going back to that table in the code book, let's scroll down to the bottom of the electronic version. And when you do that, you are brought to the part of the code book that you're probably used to, which is the alphabetical index. And here you can see some of the language that you're used to. Closure, see occlusion. Closure, see repair. Claviculectomy, see excision. See resection. You see those examples. You could still look up the term the doctor may have used, claviculectomy. But now you notice that there's two types, either an excision, which would be partial, or a resection, which would be total. Depending on which one it would be, you would click on it, and it would bring you to that part of your code book where now you have to identify where. Where is it? What part of the body? What is the approach? Open? What device is being used? What qualifiers are being used? So it's a little bit of a change that we've been used to, but the kind of change that we as coding professionals will overcome. And if you're part of my classes, you will overcome, because we're going to sit down in a classroom type session online. It's a very intimate setting, about 20-25 people, and you will be able to ask questions. So if you do have a question, you can raise your hand, have a one-on-one discussion with me, or even classroom discussions amongst the classmates, and you'll be able to get your questions answered. Here, when you're thinking about the body part, if we're all supposed to learn, improve our skills in terminology and anatomy. Now, and we all know that, right? Everyone's been telling us, you're going to learn ICD-10, you got to improve your terminology and anatomy skills. Well, when we do that, what's going to happen? There'll be some of us that know it real well, and some not so well. So I've got some tools here to help you with these body parts. And if you look on the screen here, you can see a whole bunch of areas that are identified by the anatomical term. And you see these all the time. Here's a brachialis tendon. And this is a term that a doctor may use, and you may not know where that is. But never fear, because these tools are here to help you. As you see the brachialis tendon, and you go over to the PCS description, it's the upper arm, right tendon or left tendon. And it will help you identify the appropriate body part. So we've got some great tools available to help us in that transition. And I want to reassure all of you that there is nothing to fear, that we will meet the challenge, we will meet it head on, and we will learn these new changes together and improve our skills and become better coders because of it. There's a couple of other tools that I wanted to share with you, and we're going to do that in just a moment here. Specifically, it's the tools that I will use in the workbook. And remember, we're all going to have a workbook, and we're going to code. And the coding piece is probably one of the most important pieces. It's all important. Let's not kid ourselves. We have to learn the terminology. We have to learn what the new changes are. And we have to, once we do learn those changes, we're going to have to apply them. Apply them with case examples. And I've got hundreds of case examples that we are going to use to practice coding on. And we can't minimize just how important that part of the process is. So I want to share some of those tools with you. And in fact, why don't we do that? Why don't we do that right now? Here's an example of the coding workbook that you will have. And this is a case study for inpatient health records. And this is something that we'll be doing. We'll be talking about the coding guidelines that deal specifically with the subject that we're going to be covering. In this particular case, it's multiple procedures. We'll talk about the guideline. We'll discuss it in depth. We will then look at a case example. In this case, we've got a patient abnormal bleeding and pelvic pain. And they did a total abdominal hysterectomy, a bilateral salpingo oophorectomy, and a liver biopsy. A real good case example. There'll be a description of the procedure that you will read. You will then make a determination and call on what the appropriate codes are, and you will assign them. Now, you will have the answers, but it won't look like this. This is just an example. But these are the answers. So take a look at what that example, that total abdominal hysterectomy and liver biopsy, etc., will be coded. Now, you can look at this and say, oh, my goodness, what if I get that wrong? Well, don't worry, because these tools are designed to teach and educate you. So if you do get it wrong, or if you do get it right, we're going to go step by step on how we assign those codes, step by step, how we assigned them, and then provide a good description on how we got there, as well as providing rationale as to why. So this is a great tool, and like I said, I've got hundreds of these that we're going to do in my class that you will do if you join me. And I hope you do. It's a great program. If you do, I will practically guarantee you that you will become a better coder, and you will learn ICD-10, and you will be ready to go live on October 1st, 2013. Here's more on the excision. Excision is used when a portion of a body part is cut out or off using a sharp instrument. All root operations that employ cutting to accomplish the objective allow the use of any sharp instrument, including scalpels, wires, scissors, saw, electrocautery. Please note on the right, some procedures like bone marrow and endometrial biopsies are not coded to excision. They're coded to extraction with the qualifier diagnostic. Oh no, not another oh my gosh. Okay, no worries. You're not going to learn PCS today. This is just an overview to give you an example of the challenge that awaits us and how we are going to meet that challenge and the tools that I've got to help teach you. I've been in coding for over 30 years. I've been an instructor, a teacher, educator. People that I have taught have gone on to have great careers. They've become leads, supervisors, managers, and directors. I take great pride in what I do. I have a passion for what I do. If you join me in these classes, you will learn. You will learn how to do it right, and probably better than anybody else. And that's a promise. We will sit down and code, just like these HIM pros in front of you. We will sit down and code. We will practice. We will learn how to do it. And we'll have a lot of fun doing it. I hope you will join me in that endeavor. If you would like to, please visit my website. at primacodemasters.net and take a peek when my classes are offered. And I hope to see you there. This will conclude our program. I thank you so much. Bye-bye.